right, the inbound will come 5 seconds away. Here it goes. The Western Conference champions are the Dallas Mavericks. They're going to the NBA Finals. They'll take on the Boston Celtics.
This is the face of a man that is ready for vengeance. Coming into the playoffs, hopes were definitely high for the Dallas Mavericks. They ended the regular season with a stellar record of 16-4 in their last 20 games, showcasing phenomenal play. In the first and second rounds, they dominated the Clippers and the Thunder, both with 4-2 victories. In the conference finals, they faced the scorching hot Minnesota Timberwolves, but beat them in 5 after taking a 3-0 series lead. Now the Mavericks are in the finals, and here is why I believe they will win the championship. First off, when comparing the rosters of the Celtics and the Mavericks, Dallas has a slight edge in depth. While the Celtics may boast a scarier starting lineup, the Mavericks bench has played significant minutes and made a big impact. Players like Derek Lively, Josh Green, Maxi Kleber, and Dante Exum have been elite off the bench for Dallas. Even though the Celtics have a great starting lineup, the starting big men for the Mavs have been absolutely dominant in their playoff run so far. PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford are the perfect pairing to Kyrie and Luka, helping keep their defense in check and being absolute menaces in the paint on offense and defense. After acquiring them during the trade deadline, this completely turned the Mavs team around. They have created a lob threat that no team can answer for. In Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals of the Mavericks versus the Timberwolves, Kyrie has the ball with Anthony Edwards guarding him, and Gafford sets him a screen. He swings it to Jaden Hardy, who cuts to the hoop and throws a lob to Gafford, who finishes with Naz Reid guarding, and this has consistently been working for the Mavericks. Also, Kyrie and Luka possess the skill to pass out of any defensive strategy involving a double team, which we have seen a lot. Here in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals versus the Timberwolves, Luka has the ball in the second quarter and he's taking it up the court. He has Kyle Anderson on him, but gets the double screen from Lively and Washington. And this is exactly what I mean by he can manipulate defenses, as he hits Washington for the layup, and Luka just finesses whatever defensive strategy they throw at him. It makes no sense. And this graph even displays this passing skill in a stat. It shows every player in the NBA playoffs and their assist to turnover ratio in the clutch. This advanced stat shows us how many assists a player recorded in a game compared to turnovers, but in the clutch. At the bottom are the worst of the worst, with players that have a 0 ratio of assists to turnovers. This includes Damian Lillard and D'Angelo Russell. Towards the middle are people with a ratio of 1, and you will see Pascal Siakam and SGA. And at the top are the best of the best, with Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, with assist to turnover ratings of 3. And here where Luka and Kyrie rank, separately as players but on the same team, with an assist to turnover ratio of 2.5 and 3.33. Pretty high ranking as a duo at the number 1 and the number 4 spot. This success wouldn't be possible without the contributions of Gafford and Washington, who have transformed Dallas's front court. This duo has been great for Dallas, and I can't see them stopping now. And if we're being honest, the only player on the Celtics that can defend these guys would be Kristaps Porzingis. Al Horford is solid on defense, but I can't see the Celtics solving the lob threat that Dallas displays. Dallas also has Derek Jones Jr., who was the Anthony Edwards stopper. Edwards was not himself in the series versus the Mavs, and you can contribute this to a multitude of things, but Derek Jones Jr. had been his main defender throughout the series, and he was able to hold Ant to only 23 points per game. Here in Game 1, it's a 1-point game in the fourth quarter, and Anthony Edwards has the ball with Derek Jones Jr. on him. Gobert comes up to set him a screen and rolls to the hoop, but Ant wants the ISO one-on-one with Derek on him. He steps back into a corner 3 with the pump fake, and this is pretty solid defense from Derek Jones, but Ant just misses the shot. And this is the perimeter defense that I am talking about. Jones was amazing on defense for the Mavs on the perimeter, but it was guys like Gafford, Lively, and Washington guarding the paint like their life depended on it. Here in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, Jaden McDaniels has the ball at the top of the key. Jones chases after him as he cuts to the left of the hoop, but Gafford shows exactly why the Mavs need him on defense, blocking his shot and then leading the offense for Kyrie as he cuts to the hoop, showing his finishing ability, which is what he is best at and known for doing. Again in Game 4, the Timberwolves are up by 3. Kyle Anderson has the ball and he's taking it up the court. Dante Exum is guarding Anderson as he cuts to the left and gets a screen from Cat, but the screen doesn't really do a whole lot, and Gafford comes back to help, blocking his shot, and he has been a big difference maker in this series on defense. Besides this elite defensive spell they were able to cook up on the Timberwolves, it has been one man that has simply won them many of the games versus the Wolves. His name is Luka Doncic. Luka has been absolutely outstanding this season. However, he has been dealing with injuries in this postseason, but he is still performing at the highest level for his team. His offensive game is known to do everything, but he even has stepped up on defense as well. In Game 1, it's clutch time with a minute left, and the Timberwolves are on offense, and Luka is in the paint, and Cat has the ball. He passes to Gobert, who swings it to McDaniels, who then swings it to Conley. He gets Lively off the ground, then cuts to the hoop and throws Gobert a lob, but Luka intercepts it with a minute left. This was a huge possession, and Washington leads the offensive break here, but it was Luka on defense. Even though the offense and defense has been great, the Mavericks' clutchness has been even greater. Not just Luka, but the entire Dallas Mavericks roster has tuned up their game in the playoffs, specifically in the clutch. This clutch performance, especially in games 1 and 2 against the Timberwolves, have been a significant factor in their success. Out of the 4 teams that were left in the playoffs, the only teams that showed this consistently were Boston and Dallas, which is why they are in the finals. Boston has been spectacular. However, they didn't have to deal with the crazy competition that is of the Western Conference. Their path through the Eastern Conference was arguably easier compared to the Western Conference grind. Now, I'm not saying their run was a fluke, but I do think the teams they played, and injuries included, might have been a factor to why they are in the finals. Despite this, the Celtics present the best matchup for the Mavericks in the finals. Besides the East, the Mavericks backcourt duo of Luka and Kyrie have dominated, as they have led as a duo with the most points per game in the NBA this season combined. Maxey and Embiid would be number 1 on this list, but injuries took them out of the list. And I also took off Randall and Brunson because of injuries as well. Regardless, it's very impressive how Luka and Kyrie worked out so well, because people had been so skeptic about their compatibility. Despite this, they've proven to be an effective pair. These two have been great, but this graph still blows my mind how many people overlooked the Mavericks' chances before the playoffs. It shows every single team in the NBA this season and their defensive rating, but in the last 15 games of the regular season. The lower the rating, the better the defense. At the bottom, you have the Hornets and the Jazz with very poor ratings. Towards the middle are the Clippers and the Nets. And at the top are the best teams in those last 15 games, with the Heat and the Sixers. And the Dallas Mavericks rank number 1 with a defensive rating of 106.1. It's crazy how many people didn't think the Mavs would go this far in the playoffs, even though they had the best defense towards the end of the season. Their defense has probably been their biggest factor to their dominance. Now, the Mavericks have shown and proved a lot of people wrong, and there are many different reasons for this. The up and down all-around dominance on both ends of the court, key players like Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, or just the clutchness of Kyrie and Luka. These reasons seem to convince me the Mavs will win it all, but their dominance has been shown. Why do you guys think the Mavericks have been so dominant? And who do you guys have winning the finals? The Celtics or the Mavericks? Anyways, thank you for your support and the love. I appreciate everything you guys do for me, like genuinely. And we're on the road to 500 subs, so subscribing would mean a lot, but God bless.